Just a few weeks ago, we were reading in the weekly Torah portion, the Parshas HaShavua, the Makkos, the 10 plagues. The plagues that ultimately bring Egypt to its knees and force Pharaoh to go in and free the Jewish people. And we know that the plagues were not haphazard. They weren't random. The Mefarshim, the commentaries point out that the Makkos were really midah keneged midah. They were reciprocal. They were supposed to visit upon the Egyptians the same level of inhumane behavior that the Egyptians visited upon us over the course of our 210 years of servitude in Mitzrayim. So the Torah says by the 9th plague, by Choshech, the Torah speaks about, again, it wasn't just darkness, but in fact the commentaries explain it was thick darkness, immobilizing darkness. And after describing the intense darkness that really enshrouded all of Egypt, the Torah says, "U'lechol b'nei Yisrael haya'ar b'moshvosam." The Jewish people had light in their homes, in their dwelling places. And it's interesting because if one looks at the other Makkos, we don't find this, right? Some Makkos you find, by most of the Makkos, the Torah doesn't say the Egyptians had this and the Jews had nothing, or the Jews had the opposite. It's understood that the plagues impacted the Egyptians, they did not impact the Jews. Yet by Choshech, there was a need to highlight the idea while the Egyptians were enshrouded in darkness, Ulechol b'nei Yisrael haya'ar b'moshvosam. The Jew had light. And the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says something absolutely amazing. He says, what was this Makkah of Choshech? And he says that the Makkah of Choshech, the plague of darkness, was an external manifestation of the inner darkness of the Egyptians. The Egyptians were so consumed by anger and so consumed by rage that their insides was dark. There was Choshech that enveloped their soul, their heart. And when that Choshech became too much to contain inside, it spilled out into the world around them, to the point that their internal darkness ultimately enshrouded them externally as well. And the Orach Chaim HaKadosh teaches us an incredible lesson, that how you feel and how you look at the world determines your external circumstances. There's a dichotomy. The Egyptians were consumed by rage and by anger. And when you walk around with those traits inside of you, they eat you up. And then ultimately, again, when there's nothing more to eat up inside, they spill out. And everything is dark, and everything is terrible, and everyone is horrible, and every circumstance is just unspeakable. But whereas the Egyptians were consumed and enshrouded by darkness, the Jew had light. That was the light of optimism, the light of hope, the light of belief that there is some type of great future, no matter how overwhelmingly difficult my present circumstances may be. And this really becomes our choice in life. It's a choice between Or and Choshech. It's a choice between light and darkness. We all have pain, and we all have difficulty, and we all have rough patches in life. And for some of us, it's not even rough patches. Some of us experience trauma. Some of us experience overwhelmingly difficult circumstances, often beyond our control. But the question is now, what do I do with it? Do I allow the darkness to eat me up from the inside out? Do I allow the darkness to become all-consuming, that it colors the way I look at the world, it colors the way I look at life, it colors the way I look at people? Or do I say, my pain is my pain? And sometimes that pain will never go away. Sometimes that pain can never be fully soothed. But I'm not going to allow the pain to become an overwhelming darkness. I'm not going to allow the darkness of the pain to eclipse all of the beauty, all of the good that there is in life. I'm not going to allow the darkness of the pain to obliterate any light of hope or any light of optimism or a light of a potential beautiful future. That's the choice. To become enshrouded by the darkness, let it eat you up from the inside, and then it will enshroud you and envelop you. Or maintain your light despite all of the challenges, despite all of the difficulties. Sometimes life becomes a choice between being a Mitzri and being a Yehudi. Do I choose to live a life where I am enveloped by darkness? Or do I choose to acknowledge my wounds, my pain, my difficulty, my overwhelming circumstances, but I choose to see the light within all of the darkness? Wishing everyone a wonderful day.